Hey everyone, before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. Now, let's get started. I'm Sarah, and today I'm sharing Kelly's story titled My Engagement Budget. My sister sent me a document called My Engagement Budget, asking for $10,000, but my name wasn't even on the guest list. I told her if I'm not invited, I'm not paying. The next morning, I canceled everything I'd paid for. Here's Kelly's story. My name is Kelly and I'm 30 years old. Reflecting on my life, I can pinpoint when things started going wrong, back when I was just a child. My parents always said it was my duty to look after my younger sister, Meline, who's 6 years my junior. When I was in elementary school, she was still a toddler. Even then, I sensed something was off. Meline got weekly pocket money for treats and toys, while I got nothing. When I asked my mom why, she'd brush it off saying, "You don't need it, but your sister does." I watched other kids buy snacks after school while my pocket stayed empty. It stung, but I quickly learned complaining only made things worse at home. By the time I was 15, I couldn't handle it anymore. I took a part-time job at a nearby grocery store, restocking shelves after classes and on weekends. The pay was modest, but it was mine. Yet, even with my own earnings, I found myself buying things for Meline. She'd flash those big, pleading eyes and say, "Kelly, can you give me that new Barbie doll?" And like a fool, I'd agree. I bought her toys, snacks, clothes, whatever she wanted. Meanwhile, I rotated the same 3 outfits at school and 8 peanut butter sandwiches daily. My parents never noticed how hard I worked or how little I kept for myself. They were too busy doting on Meline. Family dinners revolved around her grades, her friends, her hobbies. I could have vanished, and they likely wouldn't have cared unless Meline needed something. High school was more of the same. I worked 20 hours a week and handed most of my money to Meline. My parents treated this as perfectly normal. "Kelly's such a great sister," my mom would brag to her friends. "She takes such good care of Meline." But they never asked how I felt or if I needed anything. I was just expected to provide and stay silent. Fortunately, I earned a full scholarship to college. I studied hard, partly to escape the burdens at home, and chose computer science for its promise of a stable career. I craved financial security after years of scraping by. College felt like freedom. Living in dorms, eating in the cafeteria, I only had to worry about myself. I made friends who didn't know my family drama. For 4 years, I almost forgot what it was like to be a constant source of money. That freedom ended when I graduated. Meline was starting college, and my parents made their expectations clear. "Kelly, you got a good job now," my dad said at my graduation dinner. "Meline will need help with her expenses." "We can't cover everything," my mom chimed in. "College is so expensive." I wanted to remind them they never paid for my education, but I stayed quiet. Arguing with them was futile. At 24, I landed my first real job as an IT specialist at a big bank. The salary was better than I'd ever dreamed, but instead of enjoying it, I started sending money to Meline. It began with rent, then groceries, textbooks, clothes, and soon her entire lifestyle. I lived in a tiny studio apartment eating ramen most nights, while Meline's life was fully funded. Family gatherings were the worst. Every Sunday dinner, holiday, or birthday centered on Meline. Her classes, her sorority, her boyfriends, her plans. I was like a piece of furniture, only noticed when someone needed to discuss Meline's financial needs. Years went by like this. I moved to a slightly nicer apartment, but still lived frugally, because so much of my income went to her. Even after she graduated and got a job, Meline still needed my help for car repairs, apartment deposits, vacations, designer work clothes. There was always something. Then came a Sunday dinner that changed everything. I walked into my parents' house as usual. Meline was there with her boyfriend, Jake, who she'd been dating for about 2 years. He seemed nice, though we barely spoke beyond small talk. We sat down to eat, and my dad cleared his throat for a big announcement. "Meline and Jake are engaged," he said, beaming. Meline glowed with excitement, and Jake looked nervous but happy. I should have been thrilled, but all I could think was how much this would cost me. "That's great," I said, forcing a smile. "Congrats." "Thanks." Meline said, radiant. We're so excited and we're planning an engagement party next month. My mom nodded eagerly. It's going to be stunning. We're already checking out venues. Then came the moment I dreaded. We'll need some help with the costs, Meline said casually, as if discussing the weather. The venue, catering, DJ. You'll chip in like always, right, Kelly? All eyes turned to me. This was my moment to nod and agree as I always did. But something stopped me. Sure, I said cautiously, if it's not too pricey. Meline's face lit up. Oh, Kelly, you're amazing. I'll send you the budget soon so you can see what we need. The next day at work, I got an email from her titled My Engagement Budget. So excited. I opened it during lunch, expecting something reasonable. The attached PDF made my jaw drop. The total, in bold, was $10,000. The list included $4,000 for the venue, $1,500 for flowers, $2,500 for catering, $800 for a DJ, $600 for champagne towers, $500 for ice sculptures, and $700 for fireworks. My hands trembled as I called Meline. She answered cheerfully. Meline, what is this? I said, trying to stay calm. $10,000. Are you serious? Oh, come on, she replied lightly. It's not that much. I kept it reasonable. I rubbed my temples, a headache brewing. Meline, I said I'd help if it was affordable. This isn't affordable. But you promised, she whined. This is my engagement, Kelly, a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Mom, Dad, or Jake could help. He's your fiancé. Silence. Then her tone turned icy. Mom and Dad gave what they could. Jake's saving for the wedding. I can't ask him for more. Then cut the budget, I said firmly. I'll give $3,000 max. She shrieked. That won't even cover the venue. I told everyone you're paying for the whole party. I can't change it now. My blood boiled. You can't assume I'll pay for everything without asking. But you always do, she snapped. You've never said no. Well, I'm saying no now, $3,000. Take it or leave it. She hung up on me. 20 minutes later, my mom called. Kelly, why is your sister crying? I can't pay $10,000 for her party, I said. $10,000 is a lot, Mom admitted, and for a moment I thought she'd be reasonable. Then she added, but Meline's younger. She needs your help. You earn good money. Mom, if she can't afford this party, she should scale back. Why can't Jake pay? They both have jobs. Jake's saving for their future, she said. This matters to Meline. What about what matters to me? I snapped. I've paid for her college, her car, her deposits. When does it stop? Mom paused. We're not talking about the wedding yet. Yet. My stomach sank. You've already discussed the wedding, haven't you? You expect me to pay for that too. Don't be dramatic, Mom said. We're focused on the engagement party. No way, I said. $3,000 is my final offer. If that's not enough, she needs to figure it out. I hung up, my heart racing. Standing up to them felt awful yet freeing. But they didn't let it go. Meline started posting on social media daily rants about how her sister refused to help with her engagement party, calling it a betrayal. She shared old photos of us as kids, captioned, I thought my sister would always have my back, or some people care more about money than family. The worst were her tearful videos, sobbing about how I'd abandoned her. My phone blew up with calls from cousins, aunts, uncles, and friends, all saying I was selfish. It's just money, my Aunt Linda said. Family comes first. My cousin Mike added, you're supposed to look out for her. Even my grandmother called, disappointed in me. The guilt was crushing. Maybe I was selfish. Maybe I should just pay. Then Meline sent old photos to our family group chat, me holding her as a baby, feeding her, pushing her on swings, with messages about how I used to care for her, but now money had changed me. The calls, posts, and guilt trips overwhelmed me. I broke. I called Meline. Fine, I said. I'll pay for your party, but this is my wedding gift. Don't expect more for the wedding. Kelly, she squealed. I knew you'd come through. You're the best sister. Just send me the vendor contacts. I hung up, feeling hollow. I caved, but at least I'd set a boundary. Within an hour, Meline emailed me all the vendor details: planners, caterers, florists, DJs. She'd clearly assumed I'd give in. I spent the week calling vendors, sending deposits: $2,000 for the venue, $1,500 for catering, $800 for flowers. By the end, I'd spent $6,000, with the party still 3 weeks away. At the next Sunday dinner, Meline and Mom were poring over wedding magazines. "Kelly, come see these flowers." Mom called. The table was covered with photos of extravagant arrangements. "These are perfect for the engagement party," Meline gushed. "I thought we picked flowers," I said, confused. "Oh, those were for the party. These are for the wedding," she said. My stomach churned. "Meline, I said the party is my wedding gift. I'm not paying for your wedding." She waved me off. "I'm just dreaming. No harm in that, right?" Dinner was all about the party: guest list, decor, timeline. I stayed quiet, dreading the money I'd spent. After dinner, I noticed a guest list on the side table. Curious, I scanned it. It had 60 or 70 names: family, Meline's friends, Jake's co-workers. I looked for my name. It wasn't there. "Meline," I called, holding the paper. "Why isn't my name on the guest list?" She looked guilty. Mom busied herself with dishes. "Well," Meline mumbled, "we thought you wouldn't fit in. These people are fun, outgoing. You're always so serious at parties." I was stunned. "I'm paying $10,000 and you're not inviting me?" Mom chimed in. "We thought you'd be more comfortable at home." "You're both insane," I said, shaking with rage. "I'm funding your party, and you think I don't belong?" "You're overreacting," Meline said, rolling her eyes. That was it. "Fine," I said, grabbing my purse. "If I'm not invited, I'm not paying." I stormed out, slamming the door. At home, I silenced my phone. I had 12 missed calls and 8 texts, the worst from Meline. "I always knew you were selfish and jealous. No wonder you're single at 30. You're ugly inside and out." After years of funding her, this was how she saw me. Furious, I called every vendor, venue, caterer, florist, DJ, and canceled everything. "Hi, this is Kelly Morrison. Cancel all bookings for Meline Morrison's engagement party." They were professional, confirming cancellations, but charged hefty fees. The venue kept $2,000, the caterer $800, the florist $400. I lost $3,000 of the $6,000 I'd paid. The loss fueled my anger. At 9 p.m., the party coordinator called. "All our vendors say you canceled. What's going on?" "I'm not paying anymore," I said. "Deal with Meline directly." I hung up and turned off my phone. The next morning, I had 53 missed calls and over 100 texts. Family and distant relatives called me selfish, disloyal. Meline's messages were vicious, blaming me for ruining her life. Then someone pounded on my door. My parents and Meline, screaming. "You ruined everything." Meline yelled. "Fix this now," Mom shouted. I stayed in my kitchen, waiting them out. After 20 minutes, I yelled through the door. "I'm not opening it. I've given Meline over $80,000 in 8 years. I'm done. You're adults with jobs. Figure it out." Silence. "You promised to help me." Meline sobbed. "And you said I'm not invited to your wedding," I shot back. "I wouldn't come anyway." They left after more shouting. The next day, Meline posted a rant online, painting me as the villain who ruined her engagement. Her friends piled on, calling me a terrible sister. I unfollowed her. A month later, I saw photos of her engagement party on a friend's Instagram. It was in my parents' backyard with 20 people, plastic plates, homemade food, and basic decor. No ice sculptures or champagne towers. Meline looked miserable in every photo. All that drama for a simple party I would have happily helped fund. I felt a pang of pity, but it passed. For 3 months, I didn't hear from my family. The silence was peaceful. I started saving for a nice apartment, prioritizing myself for the first time. Then Meline emailed me a wedding invitation. "You're still invited, but you need to apologize and pay $15,000 for wedding expenses." I laughed. She still thought I owed her. I replied, "Meline, remove me from your guest list. I'm not coming, and I don't need your forgiveness." Apologize for how you've treated me, and maybe we'll talk. Until then, leave me alone. I sent it and blocked her. Now, I don't think about her wedding. I'm planning to buy a condo next year and maybe take a Europe trip. Things I couldn't afford while funding Meline. I wonder if I'll ever reconnect with my family. But then I remember how they saw me. A wallet, not a person.